Hello, hello. I am here. The tea is ready. And yes, nice to see you all. Orbis, Robin, Q, John, Jan, Hugo, Nicky. This is amazing. Okay. I would have brewed my tea for longer, but you were waiting, and so I didn't want that. Fishy, nice to see you. So, much to do. Much exciting stuff to do. So we are on Nuxt, obviously. And, ooh, yes. Is it updated yet? Robin, did you remove it? You added or removed it? Yes. Amazing. Beautiful. So we'll just merge that in. Thank you for that. That was great. Michelle, hello, hello. Mr. Lopez, Marty, Undertale. Let's go. So we can merge that. There's so much. I've just actually pushed this. Oh, why is it failing? A type error probably. Let's see. What did I do? Okay. We'll see what's going on there. So that is, I've just refactored this to be, this is cached fetch result, goodness. Fetch module. I handle this somewhere. Fetch module. Fetch result. Oh, this needs to be. I see. That's tricky. Sorry, I totally. Yeah. So Nuxt v4 is not Semver friendly. What do you mean? Okay, so am I always standing up? Yes, I don't even have a chair in here. This is, by the way, not some phenomenal. This is basically totally a it's just a limitation. So I could indeed have as in I don't have any desire to stand all the time, but I just don't have a chair. So it's necessity, is what we might say. Yes, no, I get you. Oh, you mean it's not Semver familiar, in that it can't be easily parsed, I guess. Now, why is this cached fetch result? How does it differ? So we basically have this fetch result. Oh, it just has cache true. Interesting. I think maybe we can just exclude it. Let's try that. So when we fetch it, we are going to say we have to somehow. Why is it not? How am I going to get access to it? So fetch result is exported, but cached one is not. So this is a weird one. This is VS Code. Yes, this is VS Code. So the key thing that we have to do today is get us ready for a beta or an release candidate. That's what we're working on. Let's try that. Let's try it. Sure, fix types. it might be flagging up a bug. Yeah, v5. Crazy. That will be crazy for sure. Okay, so that's good. We've merged Robin's thing. This is one of the big changes I want to make sure it gets into v4 before we release it. There are a couple others. That is a feature, and we should probably merge that too. The type context. This. We're just waiting for Nitro to be released, and Puya said he was going to do it, I think, last night. So we're probably very nearly there. I have a bug fix into version 2. So I just need that to be released in order to where is it? This. 2 weeks ago, this should enable us to merge this separate TS projects one. So that will be good, but we need it released. But nearly there. Nearly there. Okay. The Vite node via internal socket might benefit from a little bit of help, because the I've noticed, I don't know if this is really a bug or not, but let me show you. I've noticed there's an issue with this. So it's much faster. Am I running it somewhere else? Oh, it's probably my personal website is running in another window, I think. Somewhere. Somewhere. Yeah, it is. Okay. Killed it. All right. There we go. So we have our test fixture. It's running with this new Vite node server, which it should be a lot faster. So this is slow because we're doing a lot of things that in fact involve timeouts. But we should be able to test it with some Apache benchmarking. So I'll just run 1,000 requests of the home page against it. And let's see. So there we go. Now the only issue I have is that we have this sort of length 116. So there's some kind of a failure happening. And if I switch to the main branch, so if I switch to the main branch, actually it might have made sense to have both running at the same time, but never mind. So this is the same level of project that we have. I'll open another window just so we've got it in parallel, and we'll run our benchmark test against it as well. And you'll see that it's a lot slower. But on the other hand, we had some failed requests. Interesting. But yeah, it's a lot slower. And this is on my desktop computer. But also, if you have errors, that can also make requests faster. So I don't know what the length, let's just see. Does anyone else know what that means? Oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. That's interesting. Could that be, is there any, what is the content of this page. Do we have anything that might be like have a timestamp? We might, right? Do we have anything? It's a weird one, isn't it? Anyway, so I'm a little bit less worried about it now. So it's not throwing an exception. It's a 200 response, but there is something in the page that might be a bit different. Okay, where else are we? Undefined. That's a reasonable thing. Okay, back to socket. Void. And we're using request. Which I think is coming from here. So we're doing send request, vnode fetch, I guess, which is what in shared. So we have vnode fetch and send request. And maybe not undefined, maybe never might be more accurate. Let's see. So we want to just confirm that we can't pass anything. Interesting. Well, it doesn't matter hugely, but that's interesting. Okay, we'll leave it at undefined. Anyway, what is everybody up to? Jan, I know your messages, by the way. And about internationalization. So we have the, so I would love this. I'd love it to internationalize it. But before we actually do any translation, we actually have to get the infrastructure in place. And so that is the main thing that's holding us up from starting work. So I really appreciate your offer, but the thing that we need to do is figure out how to get it pulling content from Nuxt/Nuxt and Nuxt.com and allow us to translate it all. Ideally with an LLM probably for most things, so we don't have which can then be modified by actual native speakers. And I think Robin is working on this, so it might be worth checking with him. He added a comment, I think. I'm not sure he added a comment, but I know he is looking at it. Yeah, so that would be worth being aware of. Okay, still. Okay, so I think those are the two main. Let's add this to milestone 4. And let's see what else we've got. Just going down the list to see what we want to have in. I think I might update this. We could update that today. Some of these we absolutely will have, but they're not blocking. So as in, it's not a big deal for me to get it in for version 4, but some of these I think we do need to. because they will just be right. Oh, I need to grab the issue linked here. Okay. Yes, you're here, Robin. Exactly. Okay, so I think so the socket change. This will affect the dev server. Now, if there's a problem with this, we could well end up adding it as an option rather than just having it the only way. But I think it's good enough for us to merge and test. Great. What are you saying, Undertale? Are you doing Vue dirty? Is that what you're saying? Okay, global defaults for custom page meta. I'm not sure this needs to be breaking. So let's look at that in a second. This one I think we can go ahead and merge, go ahead and update, because basically I think the thing that we need for this is we basically want to what do we want? I think I added some kind of comment. Where did I was looking for team help. Not where I'm looking for it. But basically, what we want to do here is allow modules to specify other modules that they depend on. And the benefit of that will be that they will be able to, we can calculate and merge all of those, all of that configuration. So I think this should be an interesting challenge. So restart TS server, please. Okay, so our module definition can have meta, defaults, schema, hooks. And I think what we also want to say is dependencies, maybe. So what we want to do okay, so here's the API. So dependencies, does that make sense? So concept is we have modules that might be like I18N, for example. The user might have that module installed, but there might also be other modules that want to configure it. And if we do it based on the order in which they run, we have trouble. But if we do it based on some kind of metadata of the module, then that's a little bit different. So now we might have to stick this in meta, but I wonder if we can do it in a dependencies array here. And so we can basically what would we do? So what we want to allow for conditional. So just setting options. So for example, if the user has the module, Nuxt will set the options. Explicit install, and I think those, and then passing a module as a string or a fully resolved function, I guess. So we probably therefore are going to need, it can't just be an object if we're allowing it to be a string or function. So I think we want to do something like, I guess, modules, just like Nuxt config. So I guess we really want to specify. So it could be a string, or it could be, I think we could pull it in as a, what would we do? I think we could allow a function. So it would take a, like the Nuxt instance and return the input. So we'd do something like type module dependency as like a string. So we'll say it's either an array of module dependencies or a function which gets Nuxt and then it returns an array of module dependencies. So that would be fine. And it can be a string, but it can also be a tuple. So it would be a module and then the module options. But it would also be a, now we might actually want to type this, so to do type. So it could be a module and it could be options, and it could be, I think we want to allow this to be Nuxt module any string or that. Right, okay, so that's our default value. In fact, we might just set this to be the same as Nuxt options modules, and then we inherit all of the good stuff from that. So our import here is from Nuxt schema. So this is thankfully where we are. So we would just have to say that modules can be an array of Nuxt options modules number. So that seems fine. And let's see if that works for us. Okay. If we're defining a module in our playground, and we have our modules, actually I'll pull it out into a separate file. Module, and now we have this my module. Now we should be able to have this sort of dependence. What's going on there? Is this not? We have defaults, hooks, modules. There it is, modules. Oh yeah, it wasn't dependencies. So we have modules, and so that hopefully should allow us to do something like specify like Nuxt DevTools, right? So cool. But it should also, it should be typed. and we type it here. Actually, we'll just look in our generated Nuxt schema. So our Nuxt schema types are here, and we actually generate the possible options for modules. So we have it at this, where is it? There. So we're define, oh, it's Nuxt config, it's not the, we want to pull that in here, I guess. And let's see if that lets us get types for our modules. Yeah, okay. So it's basically, hopefully it's saying that we have to pass options to it, and we hopefully get type support for it. No. Okay, so what we want to be able to do is specify, I guess, the options like that. Does that seem right? Okay, so what our module is then going to need to do is handle this. So we have our module definition. We have define Nuxt module here, and it's taking in a module definition, I guess. And right, what we want to do is somehow expose this. So our module, like our resolved modules, it has a get meta, it has a get options, and then I think we want to say get dependencies is going to be, where is get options coming from? Oh, there. So function get dependencies, and I don't think we should need to, yeah. Actually, we don't need that at all. So basically what we're going to do here is if options dependence, where are we? If module, I guess, dependence modules return. Otherwise, we will, if what's the issue there? Oh. Okay. What's the problem? That simplifies it, I guess. That's a bit weird. Okay, what is the missing property? I guess we want to exclude, we'll just borrow the type. So we have our type here, which is going to be module dependency. And we want to exclude false, null, or undefined. So or null or undefined. I think we'll just do non-nullable. And then we should have a much simpler list. Great. So we'll import that here. It's module dependency. an array. Actually, it would have probably been fine. So we'll say just awaitable. What? I'm sorry. What is it returning? Promise module dependency. Oh, I see. Oh, but it shouldn't be an array of that. I think that you have to have a, so this is a problem with the definition here. So it's either an array or a function. I think it probably shouldn't be both. There we go. So if it's an array, we return the dependencies. Otherwise, otherwise we are going to return dependencies, Nuxt. And I guess we do need it. There we go. Cool. So we have our get dependencies function. We'll export it there. And that allows us to pull in our dependencies at any point in the life cycle. Great. Bombastic. Nice to see you. Okay, so we have our normalized module, and we need to specify that it has this functionality. So we have get meta and get options. So we should have it here. I hate this kind of formatting. I think we probably are just going to clean it up. So we have that, and basically it's going to be that. That's not wonderful, but we can, I guess, stick that. New line. Okay, so we have get dependencies, which is going to be that. Cool. So that all seems good. Amazing. I think we can actually just move that there. Beautiful. Nice and simple. Right. So now that means when we're installing Nuxt modules, we should be able at this point, actually we want to do this before we install Nuxt modules. We want to be able to like resolve all of the options of these modules. And I think what we want to do is where are we doing it? So we have Nuxt core modules. Yeah. Okay. So we have our modules here. And what do we do with them? We're adding all these components. And at some point down the line, we do this. So I think what we want to do is for every module that the user has added to a dependencies array, we register that to be deferred. So we do this handling of merging everything. So like what we want to do is something like, we want to go through all the modules, access their dependencies. So we want to do something like if, and I don't think it has to be registered. It might also be that we do this when we resolve the modules in the beginning. So let's see. When we resolve the modules, we iterate over all the tokens, we add the modules, we set the options, and then we're doing it in a very specific order. So I think we basically would need to look through and find if any modules exist. Yeah, I think, because we want to respect the order, even for modules that are being registered in this kind of way. So I'm just going to stick it here. So const dependencies is key This is interesting. Suyash, if you've been laid off and you're searching for something new, it's very difficult. It depends a lot on your situation. But I would reach out to people, and I would look for connections that you have personally. It doesn't hurt to apply. Make your applications as personal and high value as you can, rather than sending out loads of them. So Martin, we're waiting for a release of NitroPack version 2. So yes, so we're waiting for a Nitro release. When we get that, we'll be able to separate TypeScript projects for some different contexts. App, the Nuxt app, the view, which is the view piece. What is this? I also want to merge this. This should be good to merge as soon as the pest pass. That should be a nice speed up of the dev server. And finally, I'm looking at module dependencies. So at the moment we have the so Rondolph, nice to see you, by the way. Are there capabilities within Next.js that Nuxt doesn't offer? I am not aware of any. There are some different ways of doing things for sure. So Next has chosen a different approach, or Nuxt has chosen a different approach. But I guess it's maybe more of a question, do you feel like there's any missing capability? Okay, so the first thing that we do here, of course, is we load the module instance. And then we call it. So we're going to need to do this for all of them. And it feels like this is a bit wasteful because it's not cached. This is more complicated than I was hoping. So probably we want to do this at the resolve modules path, but this path we don't actually have anything but strings. So that's not that useful. We just have strings. And now when we're iterating over them, we have install module, which is fine. So, but it does everything. And really we want it to have several passes. So install module is, the problem is partly that we are exposing it, so we can't touch a lot of the internals. I mean, we can't split it apart, for example. What we want to do is get the module instance. This is a tricky one. This is a very tricky one. Hey, Aussie boy. It's going well, thank you. We're just looking at a few PRs, hoping to get them in. And this would be nice. I think we should be able to get this in a second. So this is a faster Vite node server. We did a little bit on that. And now there's this separate TypeScript projects for Nuxt contexts. Like the Nuxt config shouldn't. So at the moment we have this problem. In the Nuxt config file, you can do something like ref. And you're getting a type error, but this also is not auto-imported. Like that should not be available at all. So if we switch across to this project, I'll mark this as whip. If we switch across to this project here, then what we are able to do is hopefully this is going to work. So we have defined Nuxt config, but also ref should not be defined. So it's not available. So that's basically more accurate type information in the different contexts of your project. So your Nuxt config will be one context, your server will be another, but then if I copy and paste that, and I've removed the tsconfig.json, so there's just the one. If I then do something like here, this will also be undefined because it's not available in the Nuxt context. So it's basically really, really good. Like it's a lot better. And if we switch across to, so it does involve a change in your tsconfig here. So if we instead did something like extends, so this is back to what it was before, then that's still not going to work, but you would be able to do this in your Nuxt config without any, like, maybe not, ref. Oh, I think it might be working because of to restart the TypeScript server, maybe. It's, I guess we're on the branch with the fix, right? But if I move that across to the branch without the fix, this would work, annoyingly, and it shouldn't work. I'm sorry, I don't feel I did a lot of help. Didn't give you a lot of help, but it's not going to run. Yeah. And even that works, right? So that is just very, very problematic, because that is definitely not valid in that context. So anyway, that's what that PR is doing. So it should also make your project, I think, slightly more performant, but we'll have to see once it's merged exactly the level of performance that people encounter. Cool. Thank you. That's really nice of you. Right. If we don't have a Nitro release, I might move on to handling a few bugs. I'm aware it's not blocking the alpha, but it's definitely worth doing. So use fetch with immediate false. Yeah, I think it should refetch. So a lot of this is like what people expect, Robin. So it feels like once you've triggered it, then it should refetch. So because unless you've set watch false, right? So you can set watch false and then it won't refetch. Nitro 2, yeah, has been out for a long time, but there is a, oh yes, 5 minutes, amazing. Let's do it. Okay. We are switching to this. Oops. And we had a Nitro pack nightly release pinned. So we're just going to update that to well, we might, I don't know if we should do it separately. Really, I normally like to do these separately, as in a separate PR to upgrade Nitro. But in this particular case, I want to get it through it as fast as we can. So what we're going to do instead here is 2.11.12, and then was this already a resolution? It was. Okay. Okay, so let's hope this works. So let's build and test types. And then push this out. Okay, and it worked. So we basically are doing this new ViewTSCB no emit. I do also want to just check that it still works with Nuxt type check, because that is a bit of a, okay, that's good. Cool. So we can push that up. Oh, we should also and we'll also merge in the latest changes from main and then push. Yes, Shambles, we're on it. This is a very, very happy day. I'll be very pleased when this PR is merged. Now, we do also have to just check this issue because this might be resolved as well. So the example is, let's see. The example is different hash imports, which may be impossible to fix, but yeah, let's see if we can fix it. Okay, so let's see if it does fix it. So yes, we have the time. And I want to see really if we can replicate with this. So if I just were to go to our main branch and let's just see if we can create this in the playground. So we have our playground, and we're going to add a server utility. So we'll say utils test, and it will have export default, export const use do something, and this is going to have a different signature. So it's going to have an event string. Okay, and then we have a similar function in the app side. And we're going to have a utils test, and it's going to do the same, but it's going to be a number. And I'm just doing that so we can have a an easy way to test the difference here. So in our app, we should be able to say const do something 34, and then in our server we should be able to say do something 34. Now that's so Robin, no, I don't think it should refetch until you run execute. So you have to run execute first, and then changing the query should update it. That is what I think people expect. Okay, so this is working fine, I think. So the types are good. But let's run type check. So if we go into playground, we run view TSC, no emit. The main thing, Robin, I think, is that we document it. Oh, for goodness sake. We'll have to build this. Bruno, nice to see you. Okay, so string is not assignable to parameter of type number, right? This is the issue that we're looking at. Now let's see if our PR fixes it. So we're gonna have to build it again and run our type test once more. Actually, that will pass. We need a -b flag. So it hasn't resolved it. So basically, we still have the problem of having two different utilities of the same name, and it may be impossible to resolve because they do overlap. So in this particular instance, it's not the server test that's failing. I think. Let's try it. Let's just see. I think it's the server test is passing. The problem is the server is included in the Nuxt project for inference purposes. So it's this is still going to be a bug, which is fine. We were expecting that, which is why I haven't marked this as being resolved. But, oh, where's autofix? Ah, interesting. We might need to make this an import type. Okay, this is reproducible in test unit, I think. So I think actually, I'm not sure this has to be a .d.ts file. I think this could probably just be a... But let's see if that resolved it anyway. So we're looking for app index, and we want to see that it imports augments. Yeah, no. No good. Let's just try another approach. So we're importing types augments again. Augments is being... Did we reference it? No. Augments can be a .ts file. And we should be able to do this. Oh yeah, exporting. Interesting. What is that? App types. Interesting. And we should just be able to export from Nuxt. And then down here we have, I'm going to ignore this namespace comment. And this, interesting. This doesn't work for some time. I wonder what the line history is of that. Oh, because we just renamed it. Let's rename it back and see. Okay, we added it in here. Come on. 27089. And interesting. So we used to have that, and we don't have it anymore, and we don't need it either because it's just this. So it's good that we actually rename this to a .ts file. which in general I would advise anyway. So let's build it and see if this makes a difference. As in, I want to make sure that the import is preserved in our index. So we need to have our app index file. And it needs to have a reference to our augments. Perfect. Great. And that all seems to be there. And this actually now seems to be working fine. Cool. Fix move to declaration. And I think we should be able to run our test unit. And what's more, we also should be able to run that after we move this back to dev state. Rigora, if I didn't say hi, hello. And White Graper, how do I stay motivated? Well, it's a difficult thing because what I'm doing is what I want to do. This is my hobby. This is something I enjoy doing. So it's not like I'm having to do something that I'm not enjoying. So that may be, so anything I say is probably not that helpful for anyone else. Having said that, I find that some of the key things for preventing burnout are being in charge. So having control, some level of control in what you're doing, and having your work valued. So I think those are two really important things in regard to burnout. If you find that you're working in a place where your work is not valued, I would move to a different place, because even if you think, oh, there are reasons to stay here, the negative impact of that over time is huge against your mental health, and you absolutely do burn out. So having this sort of sense of what I do is valuable. People appreciate it, whether that's your team or anyone else. It's really, I think, really important. And then I also think that that sense of control. So obviously, if you're working at a company, you have to, there's a lot of things that are not within your control at all, but you should still have some level of control. If you don't have it, then interesting. So I think you do need to, this is weird. Okay. So I think you do have to have some measure of control in order to, now, why are we exporting anything from the index? Because none of those are, I think that might just be a problem. So let's just pull that out. And let's try type checking it again. And when we're type checking, we have RTS config, and we are pulling in interesting. The issue is that we have 2 copies of the augments file. And so it's pulling in, it's augmenting this, but TypeScript doesn't realize it's a different thing. It's the same thing. And so it's saying that it's not quite right. So somehow we need to where are you based? Where it is so hot. So it's not that hot where I am. Winter not found. I love it. Okay, how are we going to manage this? So we could exclude the dist or the source one or the other. Augments. I think, yeah, we can, because it's not runtime, so we will just exclude the no matches augments.ts. Yes, it's not cold, I will say that much. I am a little warm, but it is definitely not very warm. That is for sure. Right, why is this failing me? What's pulling this? Something must be pulling it in, right? Although it's saying it's not. So interesting. Not working. What if I do that? Huh, still failing. What is it then? Dist. So basically, it's very frustrating. So the problem is here we have our index, which is pulling in augments, and I think maybe we need to make it up and import dist up. Let's try that. So we always import the same version. No. Unbelievable. Why? Let's try it. This is so frustrating because this is fine in a real project. It's only a problem in this very specific context where we have 2 copies of everything. So I bet it would be fine if we built it. Let's just see. Well, actually, changing dts.ts is better. So, like, I mean, we can change it. It's better because it is a source file, and it's better to have your augmentations here in ambient TypeScript. But yeah, it is causing us massive pain, but it's not that it's the wrong thing to do. Although if we can't make it work, we'll have to change it back. But the issue is somehow this is being pulled in to the TypeScript environment when we're running our type check. It's being pulled in. Now, why it's being pulled in, I don't know, because we're excluding dist. We are adding it somewhere, right? If you have a .dts file, you don't see the problems. It's not that it works. It's the same problem under the hood. Okay, we need to exclude, we probably need to exclude one. So let's pull it back. Let's exclude that. Okay, that works. Probably won't work when we prepare it again. That works too. Okay, so this change added to the exclude seems to work fine. When we build filter Nuxt build people. When we build, I want to see what gets included in our dist. And that imports. And that imports. Beautiful. Okay. Cool, so it is all working fine. Chore use slightly different syntax for augments. I only reloaded the TS server. I didn't reload VS Code, which I think is the most minimal. So it's just restarting TypeScript. Okay, so I'm looking forward to that PR merging. Okay, what else can we do? There's probably someone asking about it rather than any progress on it. Cool. I'm gonna have a quick look at some, oh, for goodness sake. Why is that failing? It's probably just a GitHub glitch. An NPM glitch. Oh well. So that's not going to work. It failed halfway through, and so it's not going to carry on. But cool. Right. There are some PRs here that I had forgotten that I need to revisit. Well, it feels... I feel I definitely need to revisit some of these. Annoying. Okay. Sorry, people. The bugs. There's some use async data bugs. And there's also some like reproductions that particularly Robin has created that I need to have a look at. Okay, what's this one? Oh, that's an HMR trigger. What about this one? That's also HMR. Okay, so those three are HMR related. In fact, I'm not sure which. Okay. Interesting. That is a year old, but it exists and there is a reproduction. So we could have a look at that. What else? Yes, probably we just need to document this. Okay, I think this might actually be resolved. No, we expect the default behavior to be false. But we have tests for it just to make sure that it doesn't break, I think. Okay, come on. Come on. Hopefully stuff is passing this time. Links checker, we can ignore that. It's just telling us about network failures. And there's some redirects, I think. And that is fine. Okay. I did have some work on the HMR piece that Robin has created some repros for. This is, I think, not a Nuxt issue. It's a DevTools issue. Favorite change feature for version 4? That's difficult. So one of my favorite ones is definitely going to be this separate TypeScript projects for the different versions of Nuxt. I also really like the new directory structure, which I think is going to be helpful. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I like. I think the data fetching layer still needs some work, but it's going to be a lot more consistent as well. Right. Can you believe it? It's Nuxt office hours time. So I'm just going to very smoothly transition into Nuxt office hours. In fact, I might as well just stay on stream. Is that going to be weird? It might be weird. But I think we could do that. Like I could stream office hours. That does seem strange. Do people want me to stream the office hours? I can do that, or I can just disappear, stay on the stream. It'll be difficult to see you here and also in the office hours, but let's see. I should also be able, hopefully, to pull in the audio, I think. And let's try it. If it doesn't work, I'll just abandon you all. Sorry about that. Let's see if the office hours are going to work. Cool. Can you hear the sound? Yeah, but it's probably better to move to the office hours if you can. But if you're still here, the volume okay? Shall I lower it? Make it a bit less? I'll do that anyway. Okay. Hopefully that's better. And let's see if we can get this going. Hey. Nice to see you here. Ragura, Robin Martins. We were just in the other place just a moment ago. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Julien, Bobby, Mittelblut. Nice to see you. Isaac. So yes, hey, so it's Nuxt office hours, and I don't know, it feels like it's been a while since the last one. So and by the way, I should like disclose that actually I am also still streaming, because I was streaming a few minutes ago, and the sound is better on Twitch. I don't know if it's because I'm streaming to two places now at the same time, but yes. So I am also. This is also on Twitch if you want to join. Yes, Bobby, we were actually looking at your type contexts PR, which I am so excited to merge. This is one of the things actually I just was saying to someone that I'm most excited about. This is the PR, and it should close 3 issues, and it will be very, very cool. I think we're ready to go. There was a didn't get a notification. Goodness. there was a robot. Nice to see you. So as soon as we needed a Nitro release, because Bobby rightly pointed out that Nitro adds like a star.star into the type tsconfig of the server, which pulls in like all the non-server stuff as well. Is the sound bad for other people? If I have to disappear from Twitch, I can do that too. This actually means that this is one of the only office hours that's actually recorded, I guess, because it will go into the Twitch VOD stream. When Nuxt 5? Well, I hope soon. Like the test for us is going to be, when Nitro is released, Nitro version 3. And we are so close to it. So if you have a look at I'm pulling the PR, but this is the most significant PR in the move towards Nitro version 3. So already going in and migrating Nitro to use H3 version 2. And we have to do something very, very similar for Nuxt as well. But that is the key thing. And that was merged 2 weeks ago. So that's what's going to get us there to the release of Nuxt 5. So yeah, check it, Joaquin. Hopefully it should be a lot better. You can remove your server tsconfig and just have one project references. So it's all in the upgrading guide, but it should be backwards compatible. We'll have to see. But oh, that's amazing, Yokagu. Is Nuxt 4 coming next month? Well, so I'm still hoping that we can get it out this month. The release candidate was meant to be yesterday. Oh no, Monday. It was meant to be Monday. But we are, but we're not off track. Maybe a couple of days off. These PRs are the last ones I want to get in for people to test, and then I think we're good to mark a release candidate. So there'll be one more alpha, maybe a beta, and then we'll go straight to release candidate, and then we'll just be testing it for the rest of the month with no more breaking changes planned. So we're, I'd rather save the breaking changes if required for version 5, because it's coming out soon enough that we don't want to be delaying version 4. The aim is to get it out soon. That's the benefit there. Patrick, that's nice of you to say. I think there are a lot of people who love Nuxt, so we're in good company, right? Cedric, hey, nice to see you. And yes, he's doing great stuff with VietPress, actually. Yes, ViewConf Toronto. I love this hoodie. It is my go-to. It's covered in cat hair, but it's pretty good. So left, I don't know what modules you're talking about. So let me know. There's not, I don't know what you mean by a plan to improve handling. I think Nuxt layers should just work. They don't automatically support, like a module doesn't support layers by default. It has to add its own logic for them, because there's no way Nuxt can do that for you. Like what your module does, you have to code that. But if you spot like a utility or something that we could create that would help, let me know. But typically what you do as a module author is you iterate over nuxt.options._layers. And that lets you... Really? That would be a bug in Nuxt image if that's true. There's probably an issue tracking it. I know there's quite a few things for Nuxt image that I need to get on. I've been focusing on other things. There are good PRs that I need to review as well. So if that's you, I'm sorry. And we also have a new major of Nuxt image that we need to release. WebSockets and WASM, that's a good question for Puya. I wouldn't be surprised actually if if he plans to get it out pretty soon, maybe with the oh yeah, that would be great. Please do. Again, I would regard that as a bug if it doesn't, because the public directory supports layers, so Nuxt image should support them too. Yes, you can do end-to-end testing with vtest, and there's a testing guide which I think will help you there. Oh, by the way, anyone who wants to, and that definitely goes for other, like Julian, and then anyone who wants to, should feel free to come up here. It shouldn't just be me. Feel free to come up and ask a question or share something or whatever if you want to. The server part of Nuxtanity, yeah, it should work totally fine. The PWA module, are you talking about PWA? This one? Because Joaquin is here, and I don't know what you mean by no documentation. I think it's got pretty good docs, but I don't know. You might be talking about another module, but this is the one I would recommend you use. So left hit, go for it. Open those PRs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, feedback is always welcome, but better yet, making a PR to fix things if there is a problem. Like the Nuxt module does a lot in the PWA module, and then there's a lot of stuff that is just more generic about like how service workers work and all of that. So you might want to check that. Any future conferences? Do you know I have this big gap in my life? So I am going to something in September. So I've got I'm going to What the Stack. That's probably my next conference, September the 20th, which looks a lot of fun. So that's in North Macedonia, I think, in Skopje. So yeah, come to that. That should be fun. And it's the ticket is 75 euros, so it's not a super expensive one. Yeah, that'll be a really nice conference. Okay, of the root manifest log. Oh yes, I think I actually know what the cause of that is. I just need to do it now. Next.js SSR performance. So it's difficult because on the one hand, we want to make the Nuxt SSR performance as fast as possible. But the biggest blocker in SSR performance is almost always going to be the user code rather than the framework. I haven't looked into it in detail in terms of Next.js, but okay, any other questions, or anyone want to pop up and say hi? I can't say really. I don't. Basically, it's really easy to point fingers at other frameworks, and the best thing to do with benchmarks and in terms of performance is thinking about it in terms of. So if we're talking about benchmarks, use benchmarks to improve the framework rather than comparing it one framework to another. So for example, H3 has, if you've had a look at the blog announcement for H3, I mean, do take a look. So it has insane speed. So we're talking not milliseconds, we're talking about microseconds in terms of like handling a request. So on Dino, for example, H3 is 1.2 microseconds. And on Node, it's 7 microseconds. You know, it's so fast that anything that you do at all in your code is going to be to dwarf the level of what H3 is doing under the hood. And that is still Joaquin, row.dev is not SSR. Row.dev is generated as well. Just so you know. So it's not doing, there's no difference. You're just comparing two SSG apps. So it's probably something more to do with yeah, something else. I think that's a great idea in terms of Nuxt scripts. Do open an issue, as we already support cookie consent triggering. Nuxt content, I can't really speak to that. I'm not involved in that. That's something that you should check with Ahad about. It is faster than Express. That's true. I think H3 might be one of the very fastest that are out there at the moment. But so a dedicated channel for module development and Nuxt UI. Nuxt UI, yeah, maybe. I don't know whether there's a separate Discord server that Ben has for that. But in general, the thing is we're trying to get out of separate channels and instead have this forum approach where we raise help questions there. I mean, we have contributing as probably the place that I would recommend module questions. But if it gets clogged, then yeah, no, I get you on that. So Bobby, I think one of the things that Nuxt Storybook should do is probably it should not have multiple instances. It should have a single instance. So I don't, and it can just access it from the window. Like if it exists, use that. Otherwise, create a new one. Yeah, I'm so looking forward to H3 version 2. So looking forward to it. And yeah, multi-app too. There's so much cool stuff to do. You know, it's a great problem to have. But there is a lot to do. The create document APIs. Are you talking about, what are you talking about? Oh. What do you mean? What do you mean by the create document APIs are not documented? So you should be able to use the Sanity client to do that. And anything that's unique to Nuxt Sanity should be documented. And most other things are just inherited from the normal Sanity docs in terms of like the Sanity client and what you can do with it. I'm planning actually on doing a lot more with Sanity on my own website. So the I've been really leaning into quite a lot of more dynamic things, which is a lot of fun, and so yeah, I might do even more with it. Partly one of the reasons I'm doing that is actually to sort of integrate things with automations, which anyway this is something I've been enjoying, something fun, but. The accessibility module, yes, I would, yeah. That's currently being worked on by, I mean, it hasn't seen a lot of work recently. I think it needs, the main thing that it needs, we should probably just ship it as it is, and then work on improving it, where people can contribute in an open source kind of way. Please follow up and like try and pester me to work on that. What do you mean, what about the Nuxt.com feedback feature? So if you're not familiar with it, there is a feedback feature on Nuxt.com. So you can go and click like, was this helpful or not? So you get this. It's beautiful. It's really amazing work by Hugo, and it's really nice. Harshal, no need to post the thing more than once. I think you probably want to raise the question directly on Nuxt PWA. Module if you have particular questions. Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? Like handling encoded values in the query, because there is no standard. There's QS, which has a very opinionated version of it, but browsers don't respect it, particularly. Like, there's no way. You always have to have your own sort of decision on how you get the value out, particularly rich values or JSON, out of a query string, or arrays, for example. I think other modules as examples is great, but the key thing is we really rely on people contributing to the docs. So if you want to, so if you do build something, and you think it's a pattern, open a PR. That's the best thing to do, because it's otherwise it's very difficult. So who should be creating PRs with advice on module authors other than people who are doing it? So I would definitely say look at what other people are doing as a good example. GitHub search is fantastic. And because there is this open database of modules, look for a module similar to what you're doing and start there, dive in there. That's probably the best thing to do. So browsers don't respect. So basically, if you have like URL search params, like how you, like you can't just set an object, right? You have to set strings. They're strings, and that is basically going to be a challenge, right? So you're converting a query to a string or array. Basically, I'm just saying you have to have your own logic around it. So it's totally fine as long as you do it. But it's not as straightforward as the browser doing it for you, which would be the very best way of it, I think. Oh, I should also just check. Oh yeah, writable computed ref is totally good, and I'm sure there's a view use utility as well that might also help. Yeah, no, it's a nice utility. Nice to be able to have the power to use something like writable computed ref. It's pretty good. Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, David, to have a dedicated channel. Julian, hello.
Oh wow. It's been pretty much like 2 months, maybe 1 month.
It has been. It's been ages. You are very quiet though. I'm glad it's not just me, but I don't know why that might be.
It is. Oh yeah. It's because I have two mic, one on my headset, which is the one I don't know Windows use by default. And it should be
Much
better
better.
now.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
That's
much
really
better.
good.
So yes, small question. How do you? Well, first, how long is your to-do list?
It's so long. So long.
And how do you manage like? Yeah, I have like a few things on my to-do list, which, well, I mean, one item does take a lot of time to do, and yeah, I may lose motivation over time.
Yeah. A lot of the immediate positive feedback comes when you first start working on something. So if you half implement it, then actually it's almost better to start from scratch again the next time, I find. Because half implemented work that then has to be rebased and recreated, it's really tough. Like it's often harder to rebase something than it is just to build it from scratch. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I have like one current in progress library, and I bumped into some huge performance issues. In the end, I have to rewrite everything, and yeah, I don't know if I will get enough motivation to do it.
On that, by the way, I did. I guess you probably saw the work on the PR where we moved to using emit file to create the rollup file names for component islands.
Yeah.
But that might solve some of the performance issues, like an approach along those lines. Or it might not. I also don't know exactly which ones you're looking at.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not related to. It is related to Nuxt.
Yeah. Oh.
Probably in the future, but not now.
But not now.
No. I mean, I'm using Nuxt to test it.
Yeah.
To test it out, but yeah. So it's like real server components with you.
So everyone's talking about sort of where you keep your unfinished stuff. So I actually have a separate private repo called Daniel Stash. So if I need to sort of put something safely up somewhere, but I don't want it public because I'm embarrassed about my code, then I just add Daniel Stash as a remote to my whatever project I'm looking at, and I just push the branch up, and it's actually a very good solution. Like it. You just then can obviously pull it down into any other project, and it works for all your repos. So like you don't have to have different private. You just have one repo, one private repo, and you add it as a remote for any project you're working on.
Yeah, for now I'm just using links with PNPM.
Yep.
Which works quite well. Most of the time.
Yeah, it is like a junk drawer. That's right. But what is just use html.com? It doesn't work for me, I think.
Yeah, I can't access it anywhere.
So. I just push it. It's a separate remote, and I just push the branch. So every branch is like totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly like that. Reaper, nice to see you. You've moved from stream to here. Yes. Yeah. Cool. That one. I see.
I mean, yeah, I do get it. Yeah, I mean, you probably don't need to use one framework for every single thing.
Yeah, it's like there's truth in that, of course, and there's also like falsehood in that. Like it's difficult. So I mean, I absolutely, I've deployed projects with no JavaScript with Nuxt, for example, and I still think it's more beneficial to build those projects with no JavaScript in Nuxt than it would be to code them with HTML by hand. But having said that, learning to code HTML by hand is a very good skill to have, and it teaches you a lot of things. So it can be a very useful thing to do. It's it's like these sorts of things are really, nuance is required. If you see anyone, like, no matter how high profile, saying like something with no nuance, they're probably wrong. Like, it's probably not true. And I really do think that it's something we ought to call out. It's attractive, like, it feels strong, but it's not. Like, there are things you have to take into account and consider.
Yeah, that's probably why I tend to stay away from social media.
Mm. Yeah, the world is colored in gray or shades of the rainbow. I love it. That's nice. Yeah. So we are talking about, I think, in the moment, like philosophy of web frameworks, which is cool. But do people want to talk about anything else? Is there any other questions folk want to ask? I think it's really useful, Maria. Absolutely. Well, that is definitely a credit to Bobby and the rest of the team building the I18N module. That is, Bobby's incredible. Like, one thing that I need to borrow Hugo's idea of getting of like building a now streaming or back soon like page for streaming, but with Nuxt, because at the moment it's just a static image, and it absolutely could be a dynamic thing, which would be nice. I think you would count down. Oh, well, I think it pretty much did like, it was slow, and it's hard. You want to get the whole talk done in a certain amount of time, but it was tricky. What was it like? Did you like the talk? Was it useful, or it was slow? It was slow, wasn't it?
Oh, Robin's here. Yeah, so I think Robin will be at Prague 2, which will happen in September, in 2-3 months. In less than 2 months. In 2 months. And I will be talking about Nuxt scripts and like Unhead in general, but for third-party scripts. Don't know what you are going to talk about. Oh, you're not? I thought I saw your pictures on Prague. Did I?
That would be interesting. Prague View.
Oh no, yeah. So Jakob's going to be here. Alex also, Konstantin.
A lot of folk. A lot of good folk. It looks like a nice conference.
Yeah.
So yes, who's there? Yeah, a lot of folk.
Yeah, I
so
want
nice.
to talk about like view server commands, but I probably won't have time to finish the library.
It's cool.
It's going to take a lot of time.
Well, I mean, getting it right, I guess, takes time. Oops. Yeah. That's Patrick's question. The CLI, the next release of the CLI, you are going to love. You are really going to love it, because it is already so optimized. Like the initial start, it will be a lot better, but it can be better still. So in future, I think one thing we can do to optimize the start of Nuxt, and actually the dev server in general, is not to use Jitty. So once we get to the point where we can just assume that users are using a version of Node that supports directly importing TypeScript with type stripping, we will be able to rely on that, and that will be much faster than what we're doing at the moment, which is using Babel to transpile on the fly your Nuxt config and other files like it, like modules. So that will be a nice. But there are also quite a few other things that we can improve in Nuxt today that will make it faster. It just is a case of you need someone to push away at it, because there are also other things like bugs and new features, but there's a lot of space for performance improvement, and something I care a lot about. So like it would be nice to keep pushing on it.
Do you plan to remove GT from the CI?
I think it's more a case of maybe in Jitty we can detect if, well, I mean maybe in the future, but like at the moment the first step is probably for Jitty to self-detect if Node supports importing TypeScript, and then try it. Sometimes some things might work in Jitty that don't work in Node. So Jitty supports, for example, aliases, like a tilde alias that we can use in Nuxt config. But Jitty isn't like, yeah, Nuxt dev no Jitty. That will save you 100 milliseconds if you do that. It will save 100 milliseconds. Maybe not enough to notice, but yeah, we could do that.
Yes. So the thing is, well, most of the time I just only use Jitty, even if I have like Node 24, because I heard that Node 24 isn't able. So when you're using TypeScript with Node, they only strip out text.
Yeah.
But they don't convert enums to objects. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, I heard that it wasn't working with enums.
It's one reason I don't and have never used enums, because I think like literal types are better. Like having something where TypeScript is just working as like a static that's providing information as a checking step rather than a transpiling step, as I think I prefer it personally. I think so. We've tried Oxlent, but basically Biome and Oxlent don't fully replace ESLint. So we still need to run ESLint, which means that partially adopting Nuxt or Biome or partially adopting Oxlent doesn't save us that much. And it means we have to run two separate commands, which is an extra step. We are coming up to the end of our time together. Anything that anyone wants to ask before we call it a day?
Should we skip Nuxt 5 and go to Nuxt 6?
Ooh. Well, why not? We're getting drunk on the power of major versions.
I mean, we thought about skipping Nuxt 4.
Yeah, but I think it's probably fine to go up and release 4 and 5 like next to each other. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. But we're already major, so we can stick with that. Yeah, you should be able to use bun with Nuxt. People do occasionally report bugs. They are bun related rather than Nuxt, and if you report them to bun, they are generally very quick to fix them. Yeah. Oh, tree shaking for locale files. That would be amazing. That would be a very nice thing. I'm not planning on streaming afterwards. We'll finish off and I'll say goodbye to folk and maybe raid someone else. But okay, I think it is time. I think it is time. Other backends, they should be supported. You should be able to use them. It's an interesting question. I think it may be too big to answer now, but you should be able to fetch from any backend. So.
And you can use like OpenAPI.
Yeah.
Some OpenAPI schema.
Okay. I will, if you want to come to this in future, this is the link. We'll be on in 2 weeks' time, I think. Yeah, everyone have a really lovely evening or rest of your day or whatever it is. And yeah, I'm going to head off, but I'll see you all later.
See you later.
Bye. Sorry, questions are still pouring in. Bye. Yes. Yes, Reaper. That's true. Bye. And yes, I'll see you there, Rigor. Okay. There we go. Cool. Thank you, everyone, for joining a stream, which was streaming another stream. So that feels like a very meta situation. And the good news is we're nearly there with our, you'll have seen I a couple of times pushed a couple of small fixes or something. We're nearly there. Come on. With being able to rerun a couple of tests and merge this. And then that is, I think, one of the last things that we need to do before releasing the final alpha. The last one, I hope, before our actual release candidate. So the last breaking change as well in there. So hopefully we are there. Final tasks. Yes, that's done. This is the last sub issue. And then these two I'll be deferring to Nuxt 5. And then these are not changes that are needed in Nuxt itself. They are external focus. So we're nearly there, people. I'm very pleased. Is it normal for every developer to lose their hairline? I don't think so. I think that's more like a human thing. Depends on who you are, and also, yeah, like, and there are plenty of people who never have a receding hairline or anything like that. Well, yeah, that's a very good point. No, I mean, I think it's, in general, hairlines tend to recede only on, well, more likely in men. And I think probably certain genetic predispositions to it as well. Not that I know much about it. Come on. Yeah, it's true. I think if there's some kind of relationship with testosterone, I think, is it testosterone makes it more likely to lose your hair? Something like that. I'm not really sure. Okay, I'm going to draw stumps here. It has been so much fun hanging out today, and thank you for hanging around and going with me to the Nuxt office hours. Let's see if we can find somewhere where we can raid. So we have, we raided them before. Could do it again. I don't really know. There's not a lot of folk that I know at the moment. Could always have a little look. Or we could go with our. Should we go with our? I don't know how to pronounce that.
James? I think James?
Let's go.
Service Hi, welcome back.
Should we do it?
As it's a very, very nice transition in between states for...
Okay. Whoever wants to go, we can go. But thank you everyone for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm going to do it another time for sure. So hopefully we're back on a regular weekly schedule. Okay, everyone. See you later. Have a nice day.